everything about attraction in men is completely determined by testosterone, and I'm going to show you how it is in this video right now. So a lot of people think that attraction is some kind of optional preference, but it's not. It is biologically hardwired in all of us, whether you like it or not. And the primary factor of attraction is reproductive health, and our physical traits and features are just physical manifestations of that. So reproductive health is determined by hormones. And hormones are different for both man and woman. However, optimal hormone levels for either sex means optimal reproductive health, which will signal that in the physical world by developing the most attractive features. So optimal hormones equals optimal reproductive health, and optimal reproductive health will show itself to us by physically manifesting itself through physical features on the body. So attraction is basically just a measurement of reproductive health. And so reproductive health and therefore attractiveness are both determined by hormone levels. And this is one of the reasons that testosterone is so important. So why are there exceptions and some people are genuinely attracted to unique and weird characteristics and features? The reason there are exceptions is because people have a subconscious understanding of the social hierarchy and their position within it and what they are capable of attracting. So, them saying they have a certain preference that isn't linked to reproductive health, it's just their body wiring and forming a more accepting feeling towards lesser qualities, because the primary goal is to reproduce and pass on genetics. Therefore, if they're attracted to whatever it is that they can actually attract, which they know what they can attract subconsciously because they're aware of their position within the social hierarchy, they will be most likely to achieve that goal of reproducing and passing on their genetics. But if they stay attracted to the highest quality mates only, whilst being at the bottom of the social hierarchy, they will be much more likely to fail to reproduce and not pass on their genetics. This is why the more you increase your testosterone, the more attracted you become to feminine characteristics and traits. Because the more you increase your testosterone, the more capable you become at attracting higher quality mates. So your body recognizes this and essentially says we can be less willing now to mate with lower quality women. So our acceptance of lower quality traits and characteristics is unnecessary for ensuring reproduction, and also is optimal for achieving better reproduction. Because if we can attract higher quality, it would be suboptimal to stay attracted to lower quality. So, what are the most attractive features in men? So, firstly, we have vascularity. And then I've just got some cool facts next to each attractive feature. And by the way, all these attractive features are induced by testosterone. So vascularity, which signals healthy blood flow, which means very good transportation for testosterone, because testosterone travels in the blood, and therefore higher testosterone levels. Number two, physique. Specifically, the waist to shoulder ratio is very attractive. Being muscular and lean is very attractive. And this is because testosterone is anabolic and affects muscle growth strongly. And testosterone also affects fat distribution, which supports the waist to shoulder ratio. So when we have optimal hormones, our fat gets distributed in certain areas that are more beneficial for us. And women's fat, when they have optimal hormones, gets distributed in certain areas that are more optimal for them. So the waist to shoulder ratio is commonly linked to protection from a woman's perspective. And also, too much fat is caused by a hormonal imbalance. So low testosterone, therefore bad reproductive health, which is why being obese is unattractive, because it signals bad reproductive health due to the hormonal imbalance. Thirdly, facial features, strong bone structure, strong facial hair. Strong bone structure can be things like the jawline, the cheekbones, etc. Thicker skulls generally. And then strong facial hair, obviously the beard, primarily. So it's not a coincidence that eating tough foods like meat give you a strong jawline and also very good for high testosterone levels. It's almost like God's intelligent design is starting to come to life. Number four, this one's a bit of a tricky one. Height. Research currently says this is all genetics. However, there's a very small amount of research that says testosterone affects the beginning and the end of the growth spurt during puberty. Due to the fact that testosterone affects almost every other feature that signals attraction, I would take an educated guess that testosterone also positively affects height. However, height doesn't affect reproductive health, so there's a chance it could be entirely genetic. Though there is clearly people who have grown much taller than their parents, and maybe this is due to testosterone at a specific time. My own theory is that testosterone does whatever the situation requires. Therefore, if your life requires you to be taller, in order for you to be more successful reproductively or to survive, and you have high testosterone levels, I believe your body will adapt over a long enough period of time. However, I do believe it must be in the earlier years of your life, like your teens or even your early 20s. Again, that's just my theory though, so don't take my word for it. Fifthly is a deeper voice. We know this because when we wake up in the morning, our voices are usually much deeper. This is something quite cool that I've been experimenting with recently. But our voices become much deeper in the morning because testosterone is at its highest first thing in the morning. Deep voice is attractive because, especially in animals, it's intimidating and it warns off enemies. And it also displays leadership and authority. And as we know, children are much more likely to listen to a deeper voice because it's more intimidating than a higher pitched voice, or not even just children, anyone in general, are going to be much more responsive and willing to listen to someone with a deeper voice, regardless of all the other variables, than with a higher pitched voice. So, an example in the animal kingdom of females using physical features to choose mates, so determine their attractiveness, is in lions. Testosterone affects the growth of the male lion's mane, and the female lion will use the growth and color of the mane to determine a male lion's attractiveness. So they are essentially measuring testosterone levels to determine attractiveness. Testosterone also induces certain mental traits and characteristics that are evolutionarily advantageous. The way in which women measure whether a man has these is primarily through his physical appearance, because physical appearance is a strong indicator of testosterone levels, and testosterone levels are a strong indicator of those evolutionarily advantageous traits. For example, a man with high testosterone will be more ambitious and motivated. This means he's more likely to attain more resources to provide for his family and his offspring, providing a higher chance of success for the woman's offspring and giving her a higher probability of survival. This is what women mean biologically when they say they want to be protected. The biological phrase would be they want a higher chance of survival for themselves and their offspring. The desire to be protected is just the mechanism that's been put in place to ensure they try to find someone that can ensure the survival of them and their offspring. So another example that chains onto that is men are wired to enjoy and desire to protect, whilst a feminine woman desires to be protected. This is the reason all the old fairy tales were based around a beautiful princess stuck in a tower and a strong prince coming and saving her. He's getting to save and protect her, and she's getting to be protected. Two innate desires for the feminine and the masculine. Again, do you think it's a coincidence that the same hormone that makes you big and strong also gives you a desire to protect? Random fact, but this is why some scientists say the more they learn about the world, the more they believe in God. So, how do we optimize reproductive health to acquire all of the attractive traits? So, as stated earlier, hormone levels determine reproductive health. Therefore, as a man, you want to attain high testosterone levels, as this is the most optimal state a man can be in. You also want to ensure that you control estrogen levels and keep them on the lower end. So, here's how we are going to do both of those. You will implement 3 practices into your daily routine. You may already do them, but there are some tweaks you will be able to make to optimize these daily habits. So, firstly, you're going to eat like a lion. Well, almost. Eat only meat, eggs, and fruit. This will contain all the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that you will need for optimal testosterone production, and they will not have any negative substances that could affect your testosterone levels. Estrogenics. So ensure you avoid man-made and processed foods, which you're going to do as a consequence of being on the carnivore diet, eating like a lion. Because processed foods and man-made foods can contain both estrogen and or estrogenics, and certain compounds that increase things like aromatase, which increases estrogen and decreases testosterone. So the best way to stick to the carnivore diet and help you get onto it and resist all the temptation for the processed, addictive, sugary foods is to include one cheat day a week, because modern food is full of sugar and everyone is addicted to it. It's even harder to quit sugar than it is to quit a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, etc. Studies have shown this several times. Therefore, it's important that you take this seriously and don't try and go too extreme right at the beginning. So to sustain this change long term, I recommend one cheat day a week where you can eat whatever you want. You can fulfill all your cravings, all your temptations, all your desires. So secondly, what you're going to do in order to optimize reproductive health to acquire all of these attractive traits is you're going to train till failure. Failure signals to the body that we are not strong enough and therefore we need to become stronger in order to succeed. So how does the body become stronger? It increases testosterone. Therefore, you must reach failure as much as you can and be in the failure zone for as long as possible, because this is going to tell your body that we are failing so much, we are so weak that we can't lift this thing, and therefore it's most likely to increase testosterone. And then 3, you are going to sleep like a fucking king. Sleep, more specifically REM sleep, is where the majority of your testosterone is going to be produced every single night. So it's important you optimize it. You should be getting around 8 hours of sleep a day and you should not be waking up at all. So here's how to optimize your sleep, because I know that a lot of you watching this right now probably wake up twice in the middle of the night. So firstly is you're going to ensure your room isn't too hot. This was one of the biggest factors affecting my sleep when I first started. I realized when my room was actually cold, I will fall asleep much faster. Yes, cold. A lot of people say not cold, but just a little bit, well, just not cold, but not hot, in the middle. But for me, genuinely, when it's cold, I fall asleep faster. So you can experiment with that, just ensure it's not hot and see what's optimal for you. Number 2 is ensure you go to the toilet right before bed to avoid needing to go in the middle of the night. I was drinking coffee close to bedtime, and I would wake up in the middle of the night to go toilet, disrupting testosterone production, because it takes a certain amount of time for you to reach REM sleep. So you have to be asleep for a certain amount of time to get to REM sleep, to get to the point where you produce testosterone. So you're massively affecting your testosterone production when you're waking up in the middle of the night for the toilet. Number 3, stop eating and drinking at least 2 hours before bed. This is important to ensure your body has a proper rest, as otherwise your digestion will still be active whilst you sleep, not getting the full 8 hours of rest and recovery. This will also prevent you from waking up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, referring to the previous point, which will decrease the amount of time you spend in REM sleep, and therefore the amount of testosterone you're able to produce. So, number 4, my personal experience having something non-serious to daydream about helps you fall asleep very fast. A lot of people say you need to shut off the mind, however, they're referring to thinking or stressing about work and other stuff alike. So they're saying you need to shut off the mind so you're not stressing and thinking about important things you have to do the next day or the worries that you have, etc. But having something non-serious or non-important to think about will not make you stress, and it will stop you from getting frustrated at the fact that you can't fall asleep. You know, like on Christmas Eve night when you're a kid, you're sitting there like, please fall asleep, and you just cannot fucking fall asleep. And so that's like a similar thing that you might be having every single night. You're just like, please just fucking fall asleep. But you're just not falling asleep. And so to stop you from getting frustrated and thinking fall asleep, you want to just have something non-serious to daydream about. And then obviously this is going to increase the amount of time you're able to sleep, and therefore the amount of testosterone you have time to produce, because you're going to fall asleep much quicker. And lastly, number 5, you've probably heard this a million times, but ensure your room is pitch black. Don't have any of those blue laptop lights or any devices shining, etc. No lights, pitch black. And then lastly, the fourth thing you're going to do to increase your reproductive health, to get all these attractive features, is you are going to implement aromatase inhibitors to control your estrogen. No need to go crazy with these. I recommend just including black coffee into your day. Then also white button mushrooms is one, cruciferous vegetables is another one, and just honestly just stick to those three. You don't really need to do any more. There's also some research that suggests raw carrots reduce aromatase also, so by binding to the estrogen, stopping it from being active. So those are the four ones that you can implement if you like. Just ensure that you're implementing at least one of those. For me, black coffee is the easiest, and then also raw carrot. Now, the last thing we need to do to ensure we have optimal hormone levels, to ensure we are as attractive as we can possibly be, is something that 99% of people are completely neglecting, and it's massively hurting all the effort they're putting in to increase their testosterone. And it's minimizing estrogenics. Estrogenics are a fake estrogen, and they are everywhere in our environment, from your water bottle to the tins and cans you store your food in. Every drop of water around the world, there's literally studies that show the most wild animals in the most wild places, like a crocodile in Australia, and those animals are full of estrogenics, so they're all around the world. And these estrogenics are incredibly dangerous, and they have so many negative effects, and one effect is that they bind to your estrogen receptors. Then they stay there for prolonged periods of time, constantly producing the same feminizing effects that normal estrogen produces, completely disrupting your hormonal balance and producing many unattractive features. If you want to learn how to minimize them, then I'm going to link a video below where I explain everything about estrogenics and give you a free guide to minimize them. So be sure to go to the link below in the description where I've given this video on estrogenics, so that you can be within the 1% that is actually minimizing them and therefore optimizing your testosterone effectively. Now, quickly, before we end this video, I've got a simple summarization of attraction between man and woman. And it's using the terms the masculine and the feminine. Now, the masculine is attracted to the feminine, and the feminine is attracted to the masculine. The more masculine a man is, the more attracted he becomes to the feminine. The more feminine a woman is, the more attracted she becomes to the masculine. The primary subject responsible for inducing either masculinity or femininity into man or woman is hormones. For example, a high testosterone man will end up very masculine because testosterone produces all the physical and mental effects that are considered masculine. So, if you're currently increasing testosterone, you will notice yourself gradually become more and more attracted to women with features that are considered feminine, such as large waist and small stomach. And you will become more uninterested in women with features that aren't considered feminine, like short hair or becoming overly muscular. So essentially, the better your hormone levels, the more masculine you will become, and therefore the more capable you will become of attracting the most feminine, so most attractive and reproductively healthy woman, meaning overall the highest possible success for you as a man, because you're going to be able to attract the highest quality woman and also reproduce with the highest quality woman, which from a biological perspective is just the ultimate pinnacle of success for a man. If this video helped you, be sure to subscribe and comment and let me know if you will be implementing any of the advice that I've given you today.